To create the seat, I think we should go through the same process as we did with the fenders, basically creating a polygon plane and molding that to the shape of the seat, and then adding a solidify modifier to it to give it some thickness. Because this kind of shape here would be very difficult to do or to create using an object that has thickness. It can be done, of course, but I think it might be a little bit easier for us to do it with just a polygon plane. So let's go ahead and begin that. I'll go over here to the Create tab, create a polygon plane, and I'll just move this up and kind of into place here. Actually, I'll go to the front view with the 1 key and the orthographic view with the 5 key. And I'll just kind of get this generally in place and maybe even shrink it down a little bit with the S key, scale it down some to get it to size. Now that we've done that, I'll hit the 5 key to go back to perspective view. And it's going to be a little bit wide here, although not bad really. I'll go ahead and scale it in the y-axis. I'll just press S and Y and scale that in just a hair, something like that. And now I'd like to add a mirror modifier to it, so I'll tab into Edit Mode and press Control R, and I'll split it right down the middle and then press the Enter key so I don't accidentally move that edge with the mouse. And then I'll press Control Tab, go to Face Mode, and delete one side, just like we've done before. I'll add a mirror modifier to it and make sure it mirrors in the y-axis. Now, since we didn't do any rotating, I didn't have to change the rotation here in the Properties panel. I'll just hit the N key again to close that. Now what I'd like to do is add some resolution or add polygons to this object so we have more vertices to work with to create our shape. So I'll tab into Edit Mode and select this, and then I'll press the W key to bring up the Specials menu. And up here at the top, we've got Subdivide. So I'll click that, and that subdivides that polygon plane into multiple polygons. But I can also use this tool setting panel over here to increase the number of cuts in the subdivision. So I can, if I increase that to 2, you can see that the number of cuts grows. So I'll give it quite a few here. Maybe that's all I need for now. Let me go up to 4. I think 3 is all I need for now. So let me move this panel back down. And now I think we've got enough resolution to begin shaping the seat. To get the shape of the seat, I think first of all what I'll do is just delete these faces here. Press the X key and delete faces. And now we've got just the general shape of the object. In fact, let me scroll this up and add a subdivision surface modifier, and let's see how it looks when it's smooth. So I'll just click Add Modifier, Subdivision Surface, and let's go ahead and give this 2 views here. So if I tab back into object mode, you can kind of see what we're beginning to get here. We're beginning to get some rounded features. It's still kind of blocky, but I think we can pull some points to get it into the proper shape. So I'll tab back into Edit Mode, and I'll Control Tab and press the 1 key to go into Vertex Mode. And now I think we can just come in here and let's begin pulling some points. So I'll take this point and just move it out a bit, like so. And maybe I'll move these back a bit, like this. I think we could move these back. Take this one and move it back, and move these back a bit to get that rounded piece at the back. So it's really just a matter of pulling these points around until we get a shape that we like. Maybe this point could come in a bit, and maybe this point could even come out a hair. So let's go back to our front view and our orthographic view, and we can see that we've pulled the length of the seat out just a hair. I'm going to tab back into object mode And I'll use my scale manipulator down here, and I'm just going to scale this in a little bit so it's more the size that we want. Well, now that we've gotten the shape of the seat horizontally, we need to also get the shape vertically. In other words, that dip or indentation here, as well as the curve at the front of the seat. So to do that, I think I want to use the proportional editing tool. I'm going to turn the cage on here so we can see the cage on both sides. And the proportional editing tool is right down here. If we click this menu, we can see we can turn the proportional editing tool on. And we have a couple of other settings here, but I'm just going to choose Enable for now. Let me turn that on. And if I come up here and choose, say, this center point, and if I press the G key, you can see I get this brush or influence area on the screen, and I can use the scroll wheel on the mouse to expand or contract the influence of the tool. So let me just show you. If I scroll it out like this and move it around, you can see it kind of bulges and moves the most in the center of the brush, and then the influence fades out to the edges of that circle. Now this isn't exactly what we want here. I'm going to press the right mouse button to cancel that. And what I'm going to do is use the move manipulator so that I can move it in just one axis. So I'll take the Z-axis, or the blue arrow here, and just drag down a little bit. And you can see it kind of bending down like that. Now I'm going to undo that and maybe expand that selection out, or expand the influence out just a little bit. So I'm going to hit the G key and expand it out. Hit the right mouse button to cancel it, and then I'm going to use just the arrow here. Maybe go down like that. Let me go to the front view and the orthographic view, and let's see what we can do with this here. So I'll bring that down a little bit more like this. And maybe I should hit the Z key and use the border select with the B key and select these. Maybe bring these down. I can also press G and Z, and now I can bring these down and scroll the influence a bit. So maybe like this. I could press Control and lasso these points right in here. Click and drag to lasso those, and I'll press G and Z, and maybe scroll the mouse wheel a bit. And maybe I'll try this point back here with the G key. Move that forward, scale it out a bit. So you can see as I scale out, I get a different influence here. Something like that. Now I'll tumble around, hit the Z key, the 5 key, and let's take a look at it now. All right, we're getting something that's beginning to look like that, but there's more of a bulge on this part, I think, that I need to work on. Something like this. Let's come in here and work on this. I'm going to turn the proportional editing tool off by pressing the O key, and then I'm just going to pull this up like this. It looks like I could use another edge right in here. I'm going to go ahead and press Control R and add another edge so that I have another vertex to pull up here. There we go. All right. So now that we've got a basic shape, we can go ahead and use that solidify modifier. Let's test that out. I'll come back over here to the modifiers panel, press the add modifier menu, and come up here to solidify. Now let me scroll down and click and drag the thickness field here. We can get a little bit of thickness to this. Now let me try and move this above the subdivision surface modifier and see if that does anything. It does. It helps it out a little bit. I also think I'll come over here to the Tools tab and click Smooth, and that will smooth that out a hair. And we can still come in here and move these around a bit. until we get the shape that we're looking for. Now once we have the basic shape that we like, we can go ahead and apply these modifiers. I think first I'm going to apply the mirror modifier from the top here. I'll click apply. And then we can go ahead and apply the solidify modifier. Once again apply. And now if we take a look at it, I'm going to turn off the display of the modifier here. We can see that we've got our seat shape here. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a couple of edges along the sides here with Control R, and then I'll scroll the mouse wheel to add 2 edges here. There we go. And then if we turn the subdivision surface back on, there we've got our seat. Now there's more that I could do. It looks like I could adjust some points up here at the front. Looks like we've got these kind of squished in a bit, and that happens. We can just move those out a bit to get that more of a curve. But there we go. We've got a nice seat for the motorcycle. So this process that we've used a couple of times is very useful to use a polygon plane to get the basic shape of a relatively complex object. And then once you've gotten the shape down, use the solidify modifier to add thickness to it. It really helps reduce the number of things you have to think about in getting that initial shape. All right, well, we're doing pretty well. We'll continue in the next video establishing more of the foundational pieces of the motorcycle.